guys, and welcome to the 10th episode of the Blockchain Bandits Podcast. You're here with me, Jeff.
Myself, Courtney.
And me, Andy.
And today we're going to be covering a bunch of things as usual. But obviously, first off, we'll go over what happened during the week. We'll be talking about what happened with CoinMarketCap and the Korea situation. We'll be talking about how to differentiate between very similar cryptocurrencies or ICOs. And talking about fees, the problem with fees in the cryptocurrency space, and we'll be talking about the upcoming forks or updates on the Bitcoin and Ethereum network. So yeah, kicking it off with what happened this week with CoinMarketCap and Korea. So in case you haven't heard, the market had a little dip earlier on this week or this past week. Because CoinMarketCap, what it does is it takes an average price for each cryptocurrency based on all the exchanges it's on. And all of a sudden, out of the blue, they decided to remove or not include the calculations from all the Korean exchanges. Well, the reason was because they thought it wasn't, they weren't, basically they weren't good prices. They were not accurate prices. So they took it off, and people went onto CoinMarketCap and saw that prices had dipped and were panicking and was like, oh my god, I need to sell. But it wasn't the legitimate price, it was just the average price by CoinMarketCap being messed up because obviously they've removed one aspect of their calculation, and that just caused the market to go down. And a lot of people were angry with CoinMarketCap, which is rightly so because they didn't warn anyone, and obviously people sold. Obviously, I don't really think there's any excuse for panic selling. Obviously, if you have a valid reason to sell, then yeah, but panic selling is just, based off emotion. So if you panic sold, you can't really blame anyone. But I do understand the fact that, CoinMarketCap should have warned people. What's your takes on it, guys?
Well, yeah, so looking at the market itself, it seemed like a lot of people were selling, especially in stuff like Ripple, and they potentially moved across to, coins like Ethereum for a bit more stability, because I didn't think Ethereum was, impacted that much. But in terms of what CoinMarketCap did, I guess, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing for the community. I'd assume a lot of people in the community actually rely on CoinMarketCap. So, in that effect, they need to kind of claim that responsibility to ensure that how they deliver, changes and etc. It's communicated properly, so everybody's involved, because everybody's involved in CoinMarketCap in the same like. So yeah, I don't think it's really good for the community in that sense. But I guess advice that we could potentially give is maybe, rely on your own technical analysis. Would that be right to say?
Yep. Yeah. Like, to be fair, this problem with the Korean markets have been going on for a while now. The Korean markets have been trading at a premium, just because it's hard to get your hands on the cryptocurrencies back in those markets because there's so many people trying to fight for it. And yeah, so that's why they have their premium. They did remove some prices for certain currencies, like I know for Monero and for Litecoin at some stage, and Ripple definitely. It was like at some points it was like 20% more on the Korean exchanges, which it can skew the data. So I understand why they've done what they did, but it's kind of like the timing of what they did. It was a bad time. Like it was a time when like Bitcoin's been at its lowest in terms of dominance for ages. Ripple just went boom and now it's bust, and like boomed and bust basically. There's altcoins doing pump and dumps everywhere. Like they've gone on great runs, to be fair. I can't lie. Like there's some altcoins that have done really well, but there's also that into the equation. There's a lot of people thinking that they should be maybe taking their profit, doing a bit of profit taking. And what you just done there, CoinMarketCap, it confirmed that maybe the profit take was the right thing to do. So what you have now is probably maybe a few people who are bag holding alts, who they're just holding just waiting for a good position to they can get out on that now, I guess, because when Coin Market Cap did remove the Korean exchanges, everything did fall about 20%.
They did. Most of them, especially the altcoin market, dropped, and I think that it had a ripple effect on the rest of the cryptocurrency market.
Pun intended.
On the rest of the cryptocurrency market, but it because people see cryptos going down and they start panicking about their own holdings, whether or not they're going down, and they think, it's probably just best to sell. Better be safe than sorry. And that ties in with what we spoke about last time about having an exit plan, because if you have an exit strategy, no matter what happens in between your exit strategy, say you have an exit strategy for when price gets to below a certain level and price gets above a certain level, whatever happens between those two prices or two scenarios doesn't matter. All you need to know is what happens when it reaches your scenarios. And so here you're seeing what happens when you don't have an exit strategy, people panicking and, losing out, and it happened again because of the whole Korea ban FUD as well, which kind of added to it, and that basically, it was bad timing. It was bad timing because we just, price was just bouncing back from this Korea, the coin market cap thing. Then the whole Korea thing happened, and that wasn't even truthful. The media's been pushing the fact that Korea are actually banning cryptocurrencies, which is completely untrue. They were going to review cryptocurrencies, but they're more targeting exchanges that are scam exchanges, and they want to get tighter on their regulation with exchanges as well. That's basically all it is. And it's like the China situation as well before that, where China actually did ban certain cryptocurrencies, or all cryptocurrencies, I think. And then the market crashed, and then what happened? It went to new highs. Everything was going to new highs. So, like we've said many times, this is how the cryptocurrency market works. It's so volatile. People come out and say all sorts, and it drops, and then it goes to new highs. All those drops do is present opportunities to buy, and that's it. If you really do have faith in this in this space, then you have literally you don't have any worries. Your worries should be minimalized, and you should be aware that this is a possibility. But if you're coming into it thinking trying to make profit, just quick profit, which is okay, but I don't think it's the ideal market for you. There are other mediums to make quick profits, but that you can use. The cryptocurrency market is very volatile, and you need to be completely aware of that if you're going to try and do this in this market. I had someone come to me on Twitter and DM'd me and was like, "Oh, can I make some quick money on this? Tell me how to make quick money on cryptocurrencies." And he was like, "Oh, can you make quick money on cryptocurrencies?" I was like, "Nope." Well, I don't understand. If you could make quick money just like that in the cryptocurrency market, we'd all be millionaires by now. It's not that simple. If only, But I think it's important to warn people. And I'm sure there are loads of scammers out there that him or other people like him might have DM'd and been like, "Oh, can I make quick money?" And they'd been like, yeah, just send me over £500 of your money and I'll make you some quick money. And then they never saw that £500 again. So it's a dangerous space, as we said before. But arm yourself with as much good information as you can. Diversified information you get, not just from us. I'm not just going to say, "Oh, I only listen to us." No, there are other good sources out there, and you will know. It's common sense. If you just sit down and think, and without emotion, about the decisions you want to make, you will know what the right thing to do is. So yeah, there's that on that front. So yeah, another thing we want to speak about, in terms of sitting down and looking at cryptocurrencies from a certain standpoint. Basically, nowadays, more and more, especially in 2018, late 2017, more and more ICOs coming out, more and more coins are coming out, and a lot of them are very, very similar to each other. And for a newbie, it must be confusing. You see one coin that says, "Oh, we do this. You can build decentralized applications on us, or you can build a mesh network on us, or blah blah blah." And you see another one that's saying the exact same thing, how do you know which one's better? Especially if you're not a very, very technical person. How do you basically decipher which ones are like, which one's better basically? And we had a few things to say about that. Andy, I think you had some points on that.
Yeah. I was discussing this earlier with the guys, and I think it comes down to three big things. Obviously the technology, which is the main one, but usually they're pretty similar if they're in the same field. The next thing is the branding, and tied into that is the team, and after that is definitely the timing. So obviously if you have an ICO which is delivering a product what's, let's say, niche, however it's what the market and it's what the consumer needs at the time, you can see it doing well. So I like to give an example, like Uber. Of course it's not ICO, but it's a business. And Uber started because like after the recession, people were willing to be paid to drive around a random person to a place for a few quid or a few dollars. Airbnb was another business what did really well after the recession of 2008. People were like, you know what, we need a bit more money. I've got a spare room upstairs. Let me just rent it out to a tourist, because I mean they're paying fortunes at the hotels. So these are two businesses what used timing to capitalize on something what was niche and never done before. So in terms of ICOs and for someone who's an investor, I think recognizing this and finding a ICO what basically is giving a great product. What is needed. It's not before its time. It's not after its time. Because they're the ones what are going to change the market.
Exactly.
They're the ones what are going to make real good money. Okay. Well, tech again is, I think it's a bit more intermediate. I think when you're starting off, I think learning terminology and learning what means what and why what is better than what is important. So I mean, like you might not care for the block size. I mean, transaction speeds is a little bit more easier to get your head around, but hash rate and difficulty and block times might not be.
Trees and all that.
Yeah, exactly. And these are all things which you will learn when you get into this space. But we do usually say that when you're looking for ICO, you should be looking for their competitors. Yeah. So basically, each ICO is in a certain industry. So it might be like a privacy kind of coin. Yeah. So you look at the other privacy coins, ICOs, and you look what they offer in their technology. And like what's faster than what's cheaper, what has less fees, which we're actually going to be talking about later. What it offers, what's it circulating currency supply. These are all little things. And then after it could be like, okay, the last one, the first one, which I think is the most important, is branding. And how many people are in the community and how popular it is, how long it's been out. Because again, if you look at the cryptocurrency market, the top one isn't the one with the best tech. It's the one. It came out at the right time, and it's the oldest. It's got the worst tech. Not the worst tech, but it's got one of the worst tech. It's just the most popular. It's the best branded.
Exactly, and I think that ties in perfectly with what you said about timing, because Bitcoin came out at the exact right time. Yeah. Literally right after the banks basically destroyed the financial system. And it gave people an option. It could
have been better when it came out.
Exactly.
2007. It's like they saw the future and they brought it out. Yeah. It was picture book. It was like a storybook how it came out.
Definitely. That basically everything Andy was saying was like on point. That's everything that I would say. Yeah. You know, looking into the teams and things like that. You know, the timing especially. That's probably the point that you might want to take away from this, if any. I
think the only thing I would really add on that is security and whether or not it's actually, how centralized or decentralized the particular ICO is. again, depending on your opinion, some people actually will go towards more of a centralized kind of ICO. Some people go for something that's more decentralized. But again, those two things kind of play a key important role. Security obviously is really key. It does take a bit of reading of a white paper to kind of understand what type of security is actually being used with a particular ICO. But that's quite key, just because, you don't want everybody to randomly be getting ripped off, and then you've invested in something that's doing that. And I think that's quite key. And potentially also the level of marketing that the ICO is actually putting across. Some ICOs flood the market and say, look, this marketing, it's great product, we're going to deliver all these things. But then when you marry that up with potentially reviews of other people, a bit of background reading, and also the white paper, you kind of start to realize, this is not actually what they're delivering.
Sure.
So I'd say those are also really key as well.
That's true. Yeah, you got to look at, because they have to get the right balance when it comes to marketing. If, like Courtney said, if they're just flooding you with marketing techniques, seeing ads everywhere you go, you might think they're just trying to get money. They're trying to just raise money from the ICO and then just leave you with some rubbish tech.
Yeah.
Or if they're not marketing enough, then this isn't, like, no one's going to hear about this. It might be good tech, but like, is it actually going to take off? Because like we spoke about last time, the best tech isn't necessarily what's going to be there in the future. Maybe the timing's off, it's not ready. Or they're just not marketing, they're not getting out there, no one's hearing about it. So they have to have a good level of marketing. They need to go out, maybe they go to conferences, maybe they have like videos on YouTube explaining what they are. Those little things, nothing too extravagant. Those are the things you need to balance out when you're looking at two similar cryptos or ICOs. But like we mentioned before, fees, which is something that we were looking at. We were looking at two different ICOs today, and we noticed there was like one of them was charging quite a lot for what they wanted to do. They wanted to charge people for like internet and stuff, and we realized that for their target audience, it isn't really. It's not viable. It might not even be viable for everyday person. But yeah, fees, that's a big subject, which is what we're going to speak about next. So cryptocurrency space is one of the barriers for cryptocurrencies. It's fees, not just network fees, but fees on the exchanges. If you notice, Coinbase is probably the most popular cryptocurrency exchange out there, but it has some of the highest fees as well, and it puts people off. Like, really, the other day I know someone who for the first time made a transfer with Coinbase, yeah. And they noticed, they were like, oh, where's my money gone? Like, why is there a huge chunk of my money gone? I was like, those are the fees. And he's like, what? Like, I was like, yeah, that's how it rolls.
Welcome to the market. Just welcome to the market.
Yeah, that's exactly. This is how it is, especially in the early days. One day we're gonna look back at it and be like, oh my god, like, look how much they were charging on fees, But yeah.
Well, would there be a balance to that? Because let's say an exchange needs to, have running costs. They have got their own things to pay for, their creditors, etc. So naturally, they would need some money. But I guess there needs to be maybe more of a balance to how much they're actually charging compared to other exchanges. And I guess, could it be regulation? The fact that, nobody's saying, you can only really charge this.
Yeah, that's part of it as well. But at the same time, what other people might say, and especially people that have had problems, is that I'm paying all these fees, but every single time there's a little bit of traffic, you guys are crashing down. Where are all these fees going,
Reimbursements maybe are in order.
Well, I doubt they'd ever do that, to be honest. But, so that's just one of the problems, you're paying these extortionate fees, and then it crashes, and you're thinking to yourself, well, yeah, come on, like, you just took a huge chunk out of my investment. So,
but it's funny we talk about this because recently my internet service provider, I'm not gonna name who they are, but they recently went down, and everybody had been complaining. Naturally, we were sitting there not really saying much, but my mum, she's like, no, I'm not having this no more. She said, call them up now. So I called them up, and I literally had to go at the guy on the phone, and within like 5 minutes, he had reduced our bill. he had said that he's going to ensure that we get faster speeds, and he's really dedicated to that, and etc. etc. And maybe we're just not actually kicking the exchanges up the enough to actually force them to actually do something a bit better.
That's true, but our options are limited in this space, because where else can you turn? Like, especially for a newbie, you come to Coinbase, it's the one with the simplest interface. If that's not working out for you, most of them are just going to turn away and be like, this cryptocurrency stuff is just nonsense or whatever.
Personally, I think like they aren't like, they're basically closing their eyes to it because there's so many people applying, and they know that their websites and servers aren't used to or going to be able to compete with it. They're getting a lot of money from fees, and they're profiting, but they can't move as fast as the amount of people who are coming every day. The fees are very expensive, and they're not using the money for the best. So that's why people are screaming for a decentralized exchange. The problem is, will a decentralized exchange be able to keep up? As in, like, the decentralized exchange will be cheaper fees, but there's it will have less money going into it, so it can actually be work well. Personally, I don't mind paying extra for fees, just as long as it works when I want to put in a trade.
Exactly.
I just want something where it's got a good interface, it's got a good service. It's safe, and it's safe from hacking. 'Cause that's a big thing. I'll pay all the fees what I need to. I'm cool with that. I just want my money safe. I don't want my money just getting hacked or me not being able to put in a trade. That's frustrating.
Yeah, that
because again, like the one thing I always tell people, I've told a lot of people in the chat we're in now, like when they were joining up, I was like, okay, this is the thing what everyone hates about this cryptocurrency market, and it's going to be a problem. Like, it's just a problem throughout, and it's the exchanges. They're shocking.
Yeah.
They're shocking, and so many people have said, "Yeah, I'm going to get into it. I'm going to look into it." They look into it. They see how it is for the exchanges. They see the process, and they're like, "You know what? I'll leave it for another day."
Yeah, it's true. That is true. There's so many people that have done that. Like, they try to. I know someone that tried to sign up with Bitfinex, and he went on it, and he was just like, "No, Bitfinex was looking mad. Like, I can't deal with this. It's I don't know where to start." And that is a huge problem. We've spoken about it before in like our little barrier for crypto segments, how the exchanges are causing a huge barrier at the moment. Well, the centralized ones, and it still needs to be sorted out. And fees is a big part of it. But also, fees don't just come in forms of the exchanges. There's network fees as well, and this kind of only applies really to Bitcoin, because Bitcoin fees have been crazy recently. Especially if you're sending large amounts of Bitcoin around, and the transaction times aren't, like, it's like you're paying extra for slower transaction speed. It doesn't make any sense, but it's Bitcoin, it's the godfather of cryptocurrencies. But this should be changing soon because the Lightning Network's coming out, and the Lightning Network, for those of you who don't know what it is a new protocol that will be going on top of Bitcoin Core, which will allow people, when they're making Bitcoin payments, say you're making a Bitcoin payment between you and the shop will go off the Bitcoin blockchain. Your transaction will go off the Bitcoin blockchain into something called a payment channel. And in that payment channel, because it's off the blockchain, you can transact with them as many times as you want without incurring fees. And then once that transaction is complete, the end balance is placed back onto the blockchain, and then you just pay a fee for that. So basically, you pay a fee for entering the transaction, and basically the final balance being put onto the transaction, instead of paying fees, paying millions and millions of fees or whatever, hundreds of fees for hundreds of transactions on the blockchain. And because it's off the chain, it's quicker as well. And
wouldn't that lead to a bit of like security risk? But I think there's something about invalidation in terms of how it's dealt with and validation?
Well, the thing is with that is because it gets put off the chain. You can't actually see. Well, you'll be able to see who's gone off the chain. You'll be able to see who's gone off the chain into the channel. So you'll like if there's any I don't know, someone tries to lie about what happened or something, you know, you'll know who's involved basically. So that aspect of it is secured by the blockchain, but then off the chain you get the benefits of the speed and the lack of fees as well. And it's not just Bitcoin that's doing this.
Litecoin as well, isn't it?
Yeah, Litecoin's been doing this like this time as well. They've been playing around with a testnet version of it and a beta version, and Ethereum as well. But their version is called Raiden Network, and you Mortal Kombat fans will know why they called it the Raiden Network. It's basically essentially the same thing, entering payment channels, and this has loads of applications where like for example, in a taxi, when you're driving a taxi, you get put into a payment channel with the taxi driver. He drives and he charges you like per mile or per minute or whatever it is. This way you can kind of be charged in that sense. You know, let's say like 1p comes out of your account every second, or £1 or 1 Bitcoin or 1 Litecoin comes out of your account every second. 1 Satoshi, because 1 Bitcoin would be crazy per second, but 1
I'm not getting your cab.
one Satoshi per second, yeah, and you can be making all these transactions continuously, and at the end of the journey, the end balance is put onto the blockchain, and you're done, and you haven't been charged a whole bunch for that sort of thing. So it makes it more useful and more practical, and this addresses the problem of the network fees as well, and I think it's brilliant. Looking forward to Ethereum implementing the Raiden network, and I can see people using it online, content creators, maybe they'll be doing live streams or things like that. You enter a payment channel with them, and it's just easier to use to use, and without the transaction fees and everything. So yeah, I can see that happen. And think about the decentralized apps that could be using this sort of mechanism, sort of apps that will be charging you per usage, and without incurring all the fees. This is a great step, and I think it's going to have a big impact for both for Bitcoin and Litecoin. But I think for Ethereum, it's going to make it, because Ethereum is so wide and you could do so much of it. It's going to basically open a whole host of possibilities for decentralized applications and cryptocurrency world as a whole, I think.
Yeah, for me, it's like it's almost aligning. Well, both of them are more aligning themselves towards IOTA's kind of concept.
Yeah.
For microtransactions and everything else to occur, which I'm gassed about.
Yeah.
I think it's a great step. We've needed something, especially with Bitcoin, ever since SegWit2x failed, and I think it's a great step in the right direction.
Yeah. I feel like, again, because obviously Bitcoin is an older kind of cryptocurrency. Maybe they thought about this, but they didn't realize what it would become.
Exactly. Yeah.
And nowadays, it's not so much people trading 20 Bitcoin to each other. They're trading like microtransactions.
Yeah.
Exactly. So microtransactions is a big deal nowadays. So it's something to keep in mind. And again, with Bitcoin's network, the reason why we're paying such high fees is because there's not enough miners mining Bitcoin because of the difficulty, and there's more profitable coins elsewhere. Again, we all know about the situation, how it's going with Bitcoin Cash.
Yeah.
And then after, just recently, China announced that they're going to slowly shut down and seize miners in China. Now, obviously, the miners will appear around the world. I know Iceland is one country. What's gonna bring it up, and that's to be expected. I wouldn't be surprised if you saw it on the news not too soon, because it's very profitable, especially for big industries who have access to something like geothermal,
electricity.
Exactly. So again, these are why your fees are so expensive.
Yeah.
Basically, like obviously, Lightning Network is Bitcoin's developers core team focusing on their technology and improving it, which is just what you want. It will mean a massive change for the whole cryptocurrency market, and like just simply because everyone gets less fees.
Yep.
And it's a less congestion on the network for transactions, so it's brilliant, and it's something I think the whole community can look forward to. When people say, "Oh, I think I think it's too late for me. I think I think the ship has been passed or it's been sold in the cryptocurrency market." This market is still growing.
Exactly.
It's still growing, and it's still there's still lots of opportunity.
Yeah.
And I for one, like obviously Raiden and Lightning Network is something I've been looking forward to for a while. So I think this is one of the things of 2018 to look really forward to.
Definitely.
In terms of the technology.
And I think even beyond 2018, like right now we're looking at the Raiden network, looking at the Lightning network, and we're going, wow, this is great steps forward. But there are things that we're gonna be steps we're going to take in the future where we're going to look back at Raiden network and Lightning network and be like, that was rubbish.
That's tech.
Yeah, exactly. That is tech. That is
future development really in the works, and something that we don't really know about now that will definitely come.
Exactly. That's what innovation is. That's what growth is.
It's so fast growing. It goes so fast. It's crazy.
Definitely. This is what innovation, invention, ideas. This is what it's all about. This is for making the world a better place, easier place to live. And we're seeing an example of it right here. And that's why I love cryptocurrencies, because it combines technology, economics, and social issues, and even philosophical issues together. And it's all just together meshed into this whole thing. But the root of it is the technology, which is amazing, and that's why technology exists. It exists to make the world a better place, and you're seeing it right now. That's why I'm always excited about this. This is why I'm involved in this space, and it has so much potential. And just like the internet did for the world, it connected us all. This is gonna connect us even further and take us to a better world, I believe. So yeah, I think we've covered all our topics today. Actually, we've done it quite quickly. Sorry guys, and maybe you guys want us to be over quicker.
But we're going to talk about obviously the small caps.
Oh yeah, that's right. Small caps, that was an issue as well. So yeah, basically back to the whole sort of career situation. Recently we've been seeing a whole host of small caps, which is basically really, really cheap coins being pumped, and people are getting involved in them, going, oh yeah, this, because of the percentage growth, they're attracted by how say they see this coin's grown up by 1,000%, they think, oh, I might as well put my money in that, because then my investment's going to go up 1,000%. But what they don't realize is a lot of these small caps, they are just being pumped by pump and dump groups, and people get left holding the bag, and they're just sitting there at a huge loss. I know Andy feels very passionately about this subject.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of pump and dump groups, and they I always usually tell people that they are a scam. Obviously, this whole term pump and dump group has been around for decades. Yeah. It's a very old term, and for people who haven't really heard of the term, basically what they are is, maybe you might have a stock or option, or let's say cryptocurrency in this case, and it tends to be somewhere of a small cap, medium cap, but there's not a lot of volume in the market, so that means there's not a lot of people trading in the market, and you would have a in-group, let's say about 10 people who might purchase 1 million to 10 million, maybe 100 million of this particular ICO throughout like split up in like a few weeks, so days to weeks, and they accumulate so many tens or hundreds of thousands of coins. They would then tell one of their chats, so they have a chat with a lot of people in it, maybe like a good 1,000, maybe 10,000 people, and they would tell these people to buy this coin at a particular time, and they would all find out at the same time. them finding out at the same time is important, because the people who are telling them what to buy already have their coin, so all they have to wait is for the rise. When they tell the people in the chat the rise, people will put their buy orders at nearly any price. So really, it's kind of like, who's the biggest idiot, and who's gonna buy the most at the highest price?
Yeah.
And basically, the people who are also watching this currency and got in late, they're seeing that it's going up. And then FOMO it comes in, so fear of missing out, and they want to join in. They just see a massive green bar shoot towards the moon, and they see their dreams of yachts and Lambos in sight. So they put in a buy order at all-time high, and they throw in 100 grand. So just so they see the dreams of them doubling their money in there, and they put their money. So after this all happens in within, let's say, 5-10 minutes. It's sometimes longer, sometimes even less. I've seen it happen less before, and it all depends on the top guys. Slowly, surely but slowly, the top guys who have millions of pounds worth of, or euros worth of this ICO begin to sell off their large portions and take in their times 10, times 20, times 30, times 40 profit return of interest, and they just sell it off slowly. Sometimes they might just drop it all on the guys at once, and you'll see one sharp green candle and one sharp red candle just happen right after. And what you have is basically the top guy is basically again tripling or maybe quadrupling or maybe 10 times in their money. And then you have people who are in the group. Some might make a 5-10% profit, and some will lose our bag holding, and they're waiting so they can get out at a decent price. But a lot of people will lose money. Now again, why are people attracted to this? Is because of they see the percentages on the coin market cap, and they run after it. They see that a coin's gone up 50%. Again, I've talked about this before. A coin's gone up, like a coin's at 10 satoshis, and it went to 15 satoshis. So it's gone up 50% in a day. People are like, well, if I put $1,000 in that, I could have made 500. But again, hindsight, and you got to realize that this is a very small cap.
Exactly.
There's a lot of risk involved. So basically, pumping dumps are a surefire way to lose your money, and at very high risk.
They are very high risk.
Again, we're not financial advisors, but again, I think any financial advisor would say, be very careful with these guys.
And you got to do your research as well. You got this is what I said. I think I mentioned it on the last podcast, and I mentioned to someone on Twitter who was kind of trying to debate with me, but I said that if you see value in price alone, then you're going to lose money. So if you see the fact that, price is going up this certain level, I should invest, or it looks really cheap because of thingy, so I might as well invest, then you're going to lose out, because that is not the only indicator of value. You have to look at all the other aspects that we spoke about this podcast, and have spoken about in loads of other podcasts we've held. You have to look at the coin. You need to look at the technology. You need to look at the white paper. You need to look at the team. You need to look at all these other factors that we always mention. That is how you assess the value. You got to take it. Of course, you got to look at the price, but you have to take it all into consideration. That's what I would say. I'm not a financial advisor though, so yeah.
Well, I think what comes to mind here is a bit of risk avoidance, and also. Okay, just going on for what you just said there, Jeff. Imagine you're a newbie. You're looking at these small, caps, and you're kind of saying to yourself, "Well, I want to get involved. I know that something like Ethereum's blown up. I can see the percentages. There's a good chance this one's going to blow up. It's hard to see by the graph because you just see like a really low number, but you think, yeah, this one's got a good chance of blowing up." And I think it's one of two things. You either say to yourself, I'll get involved because I looked at the coin. And even if it does get pumped and dumped, there is a potential that if you have a long-term hold that you can get your money back.
There is a potential.
It's more though, right?
Yeah,
definitely. Would you say?
Because, I would always say, and I think Vitalik Buterin said this before, 95% of ICOs are going to fail. And the reason that is, it's not that, oh yeah, ICOs are rubbish or whatever. Yeah, there's just so many. They can't they can't all succeed, you know. So because there's so many, a huge percentage of them aren't going to do well, and a huge percentage of them aren't in it to do well. They're in it to get funds. That's all they're in it for. So you got to bear that in mind, I think.
And I think so that clears that up, guys. So if you are most likely involved right now, then you know what you should be thinking about doing. But then I think the second point I was going to really make here is that there are groups naturally trying to lure people in and kind of say, look, we've got experience here in the cryptocurrency market. We know what we're doing. Here's a list of all of our profits. Here's like actual people right now earning £50 profit, £100 profit in a day. Come and join us and you'll make profits. Definitely. Just, you know, stick away from those groups.
Yeah. If anyone says they can guarantee you profits, stay away. It's in any market, in anything in life. If they say they can 100% guarantee you profit, why are they coming to you to, like, they might as well just make the profit themselves, or they could just, I don't know, they could make the money themselves, or they could just tell you about it without bringing you into the group, without taking any funds off of you. They could just be like, oh, you're guaranteed to make profit, this is how you go and do it, go off and do it, you know, that sort of thing. But stay away from anyone that says they can guarantee you profit. You know, I get messages like that all the time because, you know, I post stuff about cryptocurrency. Maybe I put a hashtag Bitcoin or hashtag cryptocurrency, and, you know, they just scroll through, clicking on anyone who's tweeted or posted about that, and then they DM them going, oh, you're into cryptocurrencies, aren't you? I can guarantee you $1,000 a day, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So, and these small caps groups, they're in the same sort of group of those types of people, you know. You know, I'd say scam artists or scam groups, you know what I mean? So, yeah, be careful and protect yourselves out there, guys.
Yeah, I think a good term is again, I guess it's thrown around a lot. If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of people trying to sell dreams, and I know this is in a bubble. There are lots of people with a lot of big dreams. It happened in the .com boom as well. There were a lot of dreams being sold.
Yeah.
And people need to watch their greed. When we say you need to research a ICO before you invest in it, again with these pump and dump groups, they give you a ICO and people buy it in seconds. These people aren't reading about this ICO. No. You know what? I bet the top guys who buy it before, hoard it before, don't even buy the ICO. They look by the amount of circulation, the volume, and how much it's at the moment.
They do. That's probably what they do, because then they know if they can actually pump
exactly. Because the thing is, again, like I only know, I have experience with these pump and dump groups because I used to play, again, I've mentioned this in the chat, I used to play a game called RuneScape, which is how I first learnt about like financial markets, a video game. But people would do this all the time, and it wasn't about the rarity of it, but you made it rare, and that's what caused the price to come up, and that's what, it was all hype. People would hoard it before, and they would work out what would be the next item by particular things, by just how much the volume was. Like just simple TA, not even a lot. It doesn't require a lot of skill. All it depends is knowing people. So when you have someone who's like saying, "Oh, mate, I just made 10%, 20%." In like seconds, going into this group, they gave me the coin and I bought it. Well, you can easily lose more than that, like let's say minus 70% in seconds, doing the exact same thing.
That's a scary thing, and I think when we did talk about this before, Andy, he's like, you might as well just go and gamble it in a casino.
I did say that. I did say that off mic. I said, I said you have a better chance of getting 100% return of your money if you go to a casino, went all in on black and just rolled. Like you have a 50% chance. Like in terms of pump and dump, say if you went all in on a coin, you're battling against all the people in that chat. You getting in at a good price, and then you getting out at a good price. And you have to hope that it's like 100%.
Yeah, the odds
like,
are against you.
The odds are so against you. You will lose.
Yeah.
Like if you make profit, yeah, you've done what? Like you don't
You're
know
lucky
how
guy.
you're a lucky guy. Like, and I'm only telling you because again, I've got caught by these when I was younger. Like when I was 14, 15, but I only lost my gold coins, you know, like so. But I've also made a lot of money off it, being one of the top guys from it, and I know how they profit off it. And people profit off it off like stocks, like people do, like that's why we, like, one of the things we did at Blockchain Bandits, we actually said we're not going to do tickers. We're not going to tell people what to buy and sell, because it's just a scam. We're just why would we do that to our friends? Like, why would we do that? So these people who are telling you, buy this, like we'll tell you at a certain time what to buy, just buy it.
They don't care.
But they don't care about you. They don't care about your money. Like they just want it all. Like I would say not to trust them, and do your research before someone tells you to buy something.
Exactly.
Always.
Definitely. If they're trying to tell you to buy something, but they're not telling you to do your research, or they're just like, you want to do your research, and they're like, no, don't worry about that. Just put your money in. Come on, so the alarm bells should start ringing. But you know, this is just human nature, and people are taking advantage of it. You know, you want to make money, you want to achieve your dreams, you want to be successful, and they're dangling a golden carrot in front of you, and you're just hypnotized by it. You just want to get it. And you know what? Sometimes you can't blame people for that. You know, some people just really, really want to change their lives. They really, really want to, you know, profit. But if you really, really want to do that, please make sure you do your research. But yeah, I think that's actually it this time. All right, guys, we're actually done. So we've got our Patreon coming out soon. I know we said that last time, but we just need to sort a few things out, and it should be there. A lot of you have been asking about it, and all the details. They'll soon be out. Maybe we'll release the details of it next week. But yeah, thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, we'll see you next time.
Take care, guys. From Courtney. Bye.
See you guys next week.